I was picking my nose while fucking the dog when my mom walked in. She said, "Tell me again how much you make a year?" I said, "Mom, that's taboo." My mom said, "I bet you don't make anything more than like $35K, just like your father, all show and no go." I said, "Come on over here and say that, you retard." I popped her one. So a few days later, my mom comes into my room and says, "Son, it's time for you to grow up." Did I write this? So as I said, I'm deeply, deeply ashamed, and I would like to apologize now in advance for what's to come. I'm sodomizing myself with a cucumber and a donut. I've got the donut stuck on the cucumber, and I'm pretending the donut is like a very good-tasting cock ring with sugar sprinkles and those little chocolate sprinkles. She surprised me so much I shit all over myself, but the dog started licking it up. So I said, "Mom, let's get out of here. Let's go to the mall." So me and Mom go to the mall, and we see a priest, and she says, "Father, could you spare us a minute?" The priest says, "What's in your mind?" My mom says, "Could we perhaps speak somewhere in private? Perhaps you could accompany me to the car." So the priest looks my mom up and down and agrees, so we walk out. Walking out, I see this old lady walking with a cane, and I accidentally on purpose trip her, so she falls down head first. And all these people stop to help her, but I say, "Hurry up, Mom, Father, we've got to get to the car. The ice cream is melting." So we walk out, the priest gets up front with my mom, and I get him back. "It's my son," my mom says. "Show him." So I take out my cock and I show it to him, and he says, "What's wrong with that? What's the problem?" My mom says, "Show him, son." "No, Ma, it's too awful. It's embarrassing." "Show him," my mom says. I'm like, "Mom." I'm like, "All right. Show him," my mom says. "Or so help me, I'll slap you so hard your dick'll think it's the 4th of July. And I'm like, "Mom, what's that even supposed to mean?" "Never mind," she says, "just show him." So I lift it up, and underneath is this little replica of Liza Minnelli, and she's singing Cabaret. When I lift it up, she starts singing, full voice, belting it out, Cabaret. So the priest says, "I hate Liza Minnelli." I'm like, "Me too." So Liza Minnelli, who lives underneath my scrotum, hears the priest say this, and she starts bitching out the priest. "You goddamn motherfucking sanctimonious cocksucking Irish Catholic motherfucker, you little boy piece of shit." So the only way I can shut Liza Minnelli up is I close her down and zip up, so I do, but I can still hear her muffled voice down there, dissing the priest. So then my mom starts making out with the priest in the front seat. So I've had enough. I saw Cabaret, and that was it. I've disliked Liza Minnelli ever since. So I leave my mom and the priest in the car. I walk over this underworld clinic. I go up these rusty stairs. I figured this is it. Got to get this backstreet surgery done. I'll never get a good night's sleep again, because Liza Minnelli really likes to belt it out at 3 a.m. Reminds her of the old Weimar days. And may I just say parenthetically, whatever it was about the Weimar Republic that makes people today think of belting out a song like Cabaret, I wish they could all be sent to the Weimar Republic to watch some experimental theater. But anyway, I walk in, receptionist, I say, "I'd like to see a surgeon." And she says, "What is the problem?" And I say, "I've got Liza Minnelli living under my scrotum, and I can't sleep at night on account of her belting. She belts out these tunes from Cabaret. I think she's getting pitchy." The Catholic schoolgirl says, don't I, "Aren't you the dog fucker in my geometry class?" I said, "No, I don't fuck a geometry class." She says, yeah, I've heard about you and your mother." Which reminds me, I left my mom and the priest in the car. Scary guy says, "I'm a surgeon. We're going." I left my mom in the car with the priest. I gotta see if they're getting it on yet. I say, the scary guy takes out his red hot tongs. They've been heating in the furnace. He grabs my penis with the red hot tongs and shakes it really hard. It really hurts, but out pops Liza Minnelli. "Wow, you did it." I say, "Thanks, man. Do you know how long she's been in there?" Wow, scary man, you really helped me. Now I gotta go see my mom. Mom, I'm so happy. Liza Minnelli's gone. Thank God that bitch is gone. Son, and then my mom and the priest, they get married. The priest says, shut up, kid. So they get married, they have a big wedding in the parking lot of the mall. The priest brings a lawnmower to the house and he's mowing the lawn and throws out all my Doors records. You know, now that I look back on it, we were just normal people in a normal universe that's expanding at an ever-increasing rate, and is 95% stuff scientists have no idea what it is. So everybody lived happily ever after, even the priest. After a while, I think he's got a wee bit of a drinking problem. Thank you. So that was a terribly unsatisfying story. Now, I'm going to read you one other thing, which I hope you like. It's from the book. What happens is people write me letters, and I write them back, offering advice. This was called, Is It Too Late to Start a Band at 45? And so I'm going to read the letter from the guy, and then I'll read my response. Dear Cary, I'm in a rather ridiculous dilemma that's driving me mad. I've never been happy with my life. I've worked jobs such as in retail, the restaurant industry, and business offices. They've left me bored, unfulfilled, and feeling like my soul has been crushed. On the side, I've done creative things, singing in bands, performing in local theater, putting together and performing with comedy troupes. These things kept me alive and interested in the world, but never paid the rent. I tried studying some of my creative interests in a university setting, but honestly don't feel I could be happy teaching. I've been told many times I have a near genius IQ and have always been an out-of-the-box thinker. The whole career track, partnering up with someone, buying a big house, and driving an SUV thing makes me feel suicidal. So my current dilemma, I'm tired of being unhappy and not being myself. I work in a cubicle world with dull gray cubicles and nasty mint green walls. The people I work with, while nice, are not in any way relatable to me. I view them as mindless robots who do whatever society tells them to do. I feel as if I'm quickly dying and soon to reach my breaking point. The one thing in life I truly love is music, particularly industrial music. I listen to an industrial goth radio station on the net. I would love to start my own record label, maybe record my own album. The complication? In 2 weeks I will be 45 years old. This is not some midlife crisis. I've always been an artistic, creative person and have always struggled to integrate this into the real world. My therapist says, go for it. The world is a different place now. But part of me always stops myself. I feel like I'm too old and people will laugh me right out of town. I don't want to have only 20-something friends and be the laughing stock of the city. At the same time, I need a monetary source that brings me joy and a way to live out my quirky nature. So do I just go ahead and dive into the music scene unafraid of being laughed at? Or should I accept that this ship has possibly sailed and find some other way to express myself? So, that's the letter. And now this is the writing part. And this is the part that I like. And before I read it, I just want to say two things that make me happy. One is that on Monday, it'll be 10 years that I'm writing this column, and that's a kind of an anniversary that I'm happy about. And the other thing is last night, sitting in the surgeon's office at the hospital, and you know, when you've had cancer, the word clean has a whole new meaning. And the guy came in and he said the scans are clean, which means that I'll probably be here for a long time. So I was very happy to hear that, and I just wanted to say these two things. And I also want to say it's great to be here. Now, let me just read this, and then I'll go like this, over there, back right in there. And this I really believe, okay? This is the thing that I really do, okay? Dear loss important, how do you and I, with our myriad difficulties and lack of understanding, our lack of connections and affability, our inner machinery of self-defeat, how do we reconcile creativity with the practical requirements of living? We start with ego deflation. The world doesn't owe us a living. Instead, we owe the world. We have been entrusted with something. This is not easy. In certain ways, we creatives are the worst of people. We do not make especially good members of the community. We spend our days messing with paint or digitizing sounds. We create artistic business ventures and have difficulties with them. We pay insufficient attention to the matter of revenue. In short, we act as if the world owes us a living. We say, come out and support the artists. And we sit on a Tuesday night. Tuesday night, it says Tuesday night in an empty club. This is not an empty, this is a very full, this is big, this is a big. This place is not only big, it's clean. It's very clean. It's not only big and clean, but the light is good. The light is good. So, anyway. So this is just here. But then we sit on a Tuesday night in an empty club feeling betrayed and confused. But the whole premise was wrong from the start. The debt is ours. And this is what we learn in recovery, Of course, we can deny this debt. We can avoid the situation altogether. Many people do this, gifted with angelic voice or poetic storytelling ability or fine natural draftsmanship. They go into bond trading or auto repair. And why not? Nobody's offering them a job as a singer or storyteller or artist. So welcome to the world. The world asks more of those to whom it's entrusted its gifts. It asks that we maintain a healthy standard of living, plus devote many hours to music, practicing scales and to art, drawing from life, working with color and meditating to keep the demons from revolt, writing nonsense that must be written, reading in search of wisdom or God, thinking, and sometimes to more and stranger things, sleeping a lot to find peace, going on retreat, flirting with madness. It's our responsibility to ourselves and to the world to find ways to take care of ourselves, not to become a burden, but to offer what we have. Toward that end, there's much to be said for scaling down our ambitions so that we can practice our art in a way that is regular and routine. We must work hard at it. We must work steadily, but we must not expect to be rewarded overmuch. Consider this as well. We know how, but we don't know how we know how. How do we know how to do what we do? How do we know what we know? We don't know. We don't know how we know. The trapeze artist flies through the air and says, like this, do it like this, but how? How? We can barely follow her movements with our eyes. We don't know how we do it. So often we cannot teach it. All we can do is offer the structure in which others may learn. We can maintain the space in which the practice can be learned. We can sweep up after class and answer questions. We can say, keep going, keep going, keep going. Do not be afraid. So I say to this guy, this 45-year-old guy who wants to start a band, I say, I don't know exactly what you ought to do. I think mainly your task is one of managing and distributing your creative endeavors and managing your money so you can support these endeavors. In doing this, I suggest you try to separate your ego needs from your artistic needs. They are not the same thing. Your ego, starved as it is for support and encouragement, may well be the source of your grandiosity and hostility, the far poles of egomania and debasement between which the unmoored ego swings. So think of this, if you will. Your ego hunger is not your creative side. Your creative side is that which actually works, the joy you feel when listening, your actions, your performances, the things you actually create. If you are like me, you may often fantasize. Perhaps you have fantasized since you were a young person that your creations will gain you worldwide adoration. This is crazy, of course, that's the point. There's crazy stuff going on. But that is the deep structure speaking. And the deep structure is where we work. We try to create surfaces whose roots can be felt in that deep structure. Have you ever seen kelp on the surface of the Pacific? Marveled at how it goes deep, how far down in the dark, cold waters it's anchored on rocks and reefs, and who knows, maybe on the hulk of a shipwreck. What we try to do is create surfaces that one feels are anchored deeply. You see the kelp bed undulating in the waves, and you sense the depth of the water. Thank you.